Welcome back to the Irish Mags Show, episode 67. And if you can't tell already, we are buzzing because it is a first for the Irish Mags Show. For the first time in our relatively short history, we get to preview a cup final because, sadly for everyone, said no one ever, we weren't around. The Irish Mags Show wasn't a thing the last time we were in a Carabao Cup final. But here we are. The week is upon us. And I can say with absolute certainty, we are buzzing. So much so, lads. And I'm joined by Alan and Crisho. On screen, you'll see we are sporting our lovely retro Newcastle, 1995, 96 brown ale kits, three buttons. I would say commonly known as one of, if not the best Premier League jersey ever.
The best kit of all time.
And definitely the best Newcastle United one. Yeah. My name is Paul. I'll be your host for today. And before we dive into all the proceedings, as usual, I should tell you that the Irish Mags Show is kindly sponsored by Flagman Ireland. And if you look at Crisho's screen, you'll see an original Flagman Ireland product, which is one of our Irish Mag flags. Flagman Ireland specialise in quality, digitally printed personalised flags, bunting, tablecloths, table flags, and hand wavers. Their online store also stocks and sells a wide range of international and domestic flags, including our heavy woven government standard Irish tricolour. And more importantly, all of the Irish Mags flags that you've ever seen. I think, Alan, every one we've ever printed is available to be purchased, most of them.
Not every one. There's two that are missing, but they're trying to get them back up. It's just a fact that we have to get dimensions and all that jazz. Most of them are
and work in progress. So if you need a flag, be like Crisho, because Crisho's flag arrived yesterday. And if I've ever seen a kid at Christmas, it was Crisho in the WhatsApp showing us his flag had arrived.
Look, it's amazing. It's 6 foot by 4 foot. So essentially, I'm going to wear it around my shoulders like a Toon-inspired Darth Vader. So if anyone sees a guy that literally looks like a walking flag, it's me. It's me.
I mean, you are the Darth Vader of the Irish Mags group, so you might as well take it to London. Alan, Alan, I don't know if you're Luke or Han Solo, but I'm probably going to be Chewbacca by the time we hit 7 p.m. on Sunday. I can tell you that much. As you can tell, folks, we're a little bit giddy here this evening. We are recording on Thursday evening, so still a few days to go. We were having a chat before we hit record, and the hype just started from there. Crisho, Tev, a good few of the gang are going over on Saturday. Myself and Alan flying on Sunday. Correct me if I'm wrong, lads. We have at least 100 Irish Mags flying to London this weekend. I don't know if King Charles has been told about this, Alan. But I'm told it's about 100 of us at least.
Well, we've 120 tickets sold for our event in our bar. So, I'm reckoning we're going to have about 150 all in over the weekend.
Yeah.
And that probably doesn't even include lads who are actually going to the game, because we know a few of the Irish Mags were lucky enough to get tickets. And, which something we'll come to in a little while, we have now got not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, 8 meetups happening across Ireland for this final on Sunday.
Amazing. That's an achievement. That's like nearly, I was going to say it's nearly as equal to the achievement of Newcastle getting to the final. But to build a community from a couple of lads knocking about on Campbell Street to 8 meetups around the country for a match with young people, old people, the older Irish Mags. It's just going to be. I'm kind of jealous, really, that we're going to be over there to miss it. Because, as we know, and Al will confirm, who's looking after Bleecker Street headquarters?
Sean Bowes.
It's always Sean Bowes. Why does it always end up being Sean Bowes? Well, Crisho has also promised that if anybody finds a way to get to all 8 pubs on Sunday throughout the day in a 24-hour period, he'll buy you a free drink for a week. That's straight from Crisho's mouth there, and I didn't just make it up.
No. Definitely.
So if you can find a taxi driver to chauffeur you around the country, get 8 photos in 8 of them pubs, and you get free drink for a week from Crisho. Oh, that might actually happen now. I hope it does.
Yeah.
It won't matter, because if Newcastle win this cup, Crisho is going to be buying drink for all of London.
Everybody.
Oh, gosh.
Everybody.
Alan, speaking of spending money, before we dive into the cup final preview, and we're going to tear it all apart, there's been some information coming out of the club this week. Interesting timing, interesting reaction. Basically, it's a kind of a project 2030, and there's references to stadium and spending and infrastructure and developments and long-term plans. Some reactions I've seen are very much like they're saying things without really saying anything, and that it's nothing different. Maybe it's setting some more realistic expectations. Maybe it's just a more strategic alignment or realignment of goals. But what I like about it is it comes at a time when Manchester United and Jim Ratcliffe just come out looking completely ridiculous with this stadium design that looks like a big circus, literally. And I've seen some memes of there was an episode of The Simpsons where Homer is like messing with the mashed potato, the reference from Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where he loses his mind. And it just, yet again, Man United managed to make themselves look completely ridiculous, even more than they did the week before. But anyway, back to Project 2030, Alan. Just we might touch on it for a few minutes. What is it all about?
So essentially, they're finally saying they've signed, sealed, and delivered our plans for the next 10 years-ish, shall we say. And the real main one coming from it is that we will be leaving St. James's Park by the looks of things. Won't be going too far. We're only moving 100 yards up the road, but we're going to Lees's Park in a super stadium that will supposedly be based off the Allegiant Stadium in Vegas, which our one will be a 65,000 seater stadium with a bubble wrap effect. I don't know what that means. I just keep seeing it being banded around on Twitter and stuff like that. I don't know what bubble wrap effect means. I'm assuming it's going to kind of look like the Allianz in Munich.
Yeah.
Something similar along those lines. Yeah, it's going to be a 65,000 seater stadium, which I thought they could have gone bigger, but I'm hoping that it's one of these stadiums that they have the option to expand it to 70, 80, 250,000 when we're the best team on the planet. But it's what we like. It's what we wanted to an extent. Like we knew it was going to either be an extra 6,000 or 7,000 in St. James's, or you have to bite the bullet and you have to move. And it looks like we're finally biting the bullet and we're moving.
And that was the first question I was going to ask Chris Show. Like, you get some people to kind of look at it and go, 65,000 is kind of a good sweet spot. What's that? An extra 13-ish thousand on top of what we have. And some people are kind of leaning towards like that would be, from an atmosphere perspective, you know, if you go too big, you end up with unlikely but potentially empty seats, or you end up with tourist seats, for want of a better phrase. Well, neither of which are good for atmosphere. What are your thoughts, Chris, on that attendance figure? Like if we're assuming we'd sell it out, which I think we would.
I guess it is a sweet spot, really. I mean, I guess they picked a number and then leave a little bit of demand still kind of there for tickets, right? I think we're all very much aware that was it this season? Yeah, third round against Wimbledon or whatever it was. It was 52,000 people there. In fact, there was like 3,000 or 4,000 people wanting tickets as well for that match. So they could have, I personally believe that they could have gone for 70. I guess they would have been concerned that maybe some of the matches that there might only be like 40,000 there in a big, massive, echoey stadium. I don't believe so. I don't believe the people from Newcastle are that kind of a supporter. I don't think it would be like the City Stadium, Man City Stadium, where it's just deathly quiet and nothing happening. I think if whatever number they would have put on this and then added an extra percentage of season tickets, I would have bought a season ticket. I can tell you, hands up, I would have. Straight up, I would have bought it. And I know a lot of people have been waiting around to buy season tickets, even just within our Irish Mags. Not that everybody has probably £800, £900 knocking about, but to make an investment like that for our group and our community, yeah. But 65,000 just seems like, Al, I hope you're right. I hope there is room for some form of expansion once they get the numbers rolling over the year, 2 years. But it's incredibly exciting the one key thing that I like about this whole project is that we're going to be able to play at a full St. James's Park until this is built. So it's not as if we're going to have to go play somewhere else or anything like that. So I think they've made the right decision. It's hard after 133 years, but if we want to match, because the Saudis are going to, there's a lot of different people going to be investing in the north of England to bring the UK economy back up. They're going to do it in Manchester. They're going to do it in the northeast. And it starts with these stadiums. There's a lot of jobs going to be going for this and a lot of investment into the region. So it's a win-win-win-win for everybody. But 65,000, Paul, I genuinely believe they could have went with 75,000.
I mean, look, they'll have much more visibility on numbers and demand, I suppose, when it comes to, I mean, it's probably, it's up there with, you know, are we alone in the universe as to how many people apply in the ballot every time there's a home game? Nobody knows, but I would assume they know. and they obviously have a better visibility on things like obviously ballots and then tickets being transferred around, all that kind of thing that you just don't see. Season ticket numbers, season ticket demand. That'll be interesting. And be interesting to see, like, if we add 13,000 tickets, is that just 13,000 more season tickets? And then we're still in the same boat for people who don't have season tickets. A lot to be figured out. But at least it's information, and I think that's good. It's probably similar to Everton's transition from Goodison Park to their new stadium. I don't even know what that new stadium is called, actually.
Ramley Moore Dock.
But what is it? What's the capacity? What's the capacity of Everton Stadium?
60.
60.
Look, it's an interesting one, but like at Talon's point, you'd like to think that if you're going to go to the effort of building a brand new stadium, that you have the opportunity to expand it, especially if in 5-10 years' time we're regularly in things like Champions League and growing a fan base of younger people and also probably people overseas. Anything else, Alan, that came out of that long-term kind of planning announcement that
just that PIF aren't putting us on the back burner or anything along those lines, that there's going to be a big as much as they can, it'll be invested into us. It came across as a very good bit of PR for the club at a time where, not that we were struggling, but it was just a bit of good news where, let's be honest, usually Newcastle gone into a cup final, we're talking about players suspended, injured, or court.
Oh, we'll get to that, don't worry.
Yeah. But this just seems to have been, here's a bit of good news, push it out and get the narrative off this cup final a little bit. So I did feel it was a good move by the club if it did get leaked from the club, which it more than likely did, let's be honest about it.
Yeah, I mean, like, as well as that, right, there's one piece in it where it's saying about that Paul Mitchell will look to reduce the average age of the squad in the summer. He'll sign young talent from abroad as well as one or two more established domestic talents. We've made a club record 413 million a year in revenue, this is all good. It's all pointing in good ways. But like Al said, this is a very deliciously timed leak from the club before, what's going to happen on Sunday, because, I mean, it is, our season is really still very precarious. Okay, I know we bet West Ham, but it's still very precarious at the moment. Like, I'm not trying to shit on everyone's parade again. I'm really not. But Sunday doesn't happen. We have a few poor results at home, and a couple of lads get injured, and we come 10th. And we win.
Dun, 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 dun. Darth Vader is in the house.
Jesus Christ. We have a cup final on Sunday,
I'm
Christian.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Snap out of it.
Yeah.
Timing is interesting. Season ticket price changes, and then, it's I mean, if you're smart about it, you might say, well, this is a perfect time to release it because everyone's got their eyes in the cup final and no one really has time to delve too much into those other things. And a cup final win will just make everything taste much sweeter. So let's talk about it, lads. Cup final Sunday, it's 4:30 kickoff.
4:30 p.m. Yes, 4:30 p.m.
London is going to be not only up the walls with Irish Mags and Newcastle fans, but there's also a lot of other games on, I think, on Sunday in terms of
Arsenal, Chelsea,
and all that. Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, Palace,
Spurs, Fulham.
Yeah. That'd be nuts.
So London is going to be a bit hectic. Never mind the fact that it's Paddy's weekend and all of the above. And yeah, as we alluded to, the three of us, along with some 150 odd Irish Mags, is going to be traveling over. We know everyone else then is going to be minding the house on home soil across all the different locations. But let's just, I suppose we'll start off really with, we have to talk about Liverpool first, I think. And the reason I say that is, as we said, today's Thursday. 2 nights ago, Liverpool played PSG in Anfield, lost 1-0. And to be fair, they were battered in the first leg in Paris as well. Beating PSG isn't for everyone. Liverpool fans, don't worry. Like, it's fine, we won't really mention the fact that we beat them 6-2 on aggregate over 2 games, but like that's fine. The delicious thing, I suppose, was obviously there'll be an emotional strain of them getting knocked out of the Champions League when they've probably been hyping themselves up as a potential winner of that, having to play an extra 30 minutes, the turmoil of how that entire game went, and then naturally penalty shootout that did not go well. I'm not even going to go into the fact that probably 95% of the footballing universe knew that Darwin Núñez was going to miss that penalty. I literally said it here sitting on the couch. But Alan, looking at it, could you have chosen a better outcome? Like, is there any world where Liverpool winning would have been better in terms of like them having their eyes on a different prize? or them losing on penalties, is that, as the Newcastle fans, is that the best we could hope for?
There is an argument for them if they had a won on penalties that you go, okay, they still had to play the entirety of the match. They've had to go the whole way through it, and their head is still going to be on it. We are trying to win the Champions League, the league, and the cup. But now they've gone from a treble to a double, and you're going, are they going to be hurt from losing that and going to be up for it? Of course they are. It's Liverpool. Like, let's be honest about it. Like, people who think whatever the result was on Tuesday night was going to affect the outcome of Sunday, little to no impact on it. These are professional footballers. It's not going to be really drawn on their mind. We just have to take advantage of the opportunity. Like, it's in our hands. That's the end of it.
I mean, Paul, Man United were going for a treble when we got them in the FA Cup, right? I think they won that. Our match again was the first one, I think, before they won the league. Then they won the Champions League. I think that they said that by beating Newcastle that day at Wembley, they not that they didn't have the belief, but it gave them an impetus to go for that treble because they got the first hurdle out of the way. With Liverpool, this is kind of a different way around. Liverpool have lost their first opportunity, apart from losing in the FA Cup, but losing their first opportunity at this treble. If they come up against a gnarly, shithousery, fully 110% behind, relentless Newcastle, I think that some of them now, just a couple of them in the team, might have chinks in their armor that we can roll over. So
I fully agree, and the reason I didn't want to just talk about Liverpool, obviously, look, it's about Newcastle, but I think it was worth bringing up to start the context of the conversation because they've literally just come out of that Champions League tie. Let's focus on Newcastle. We'll come back to Liverpool in a little while in terms of the opposition, but from a Newcastle perspective, before we go into like predicting who might play and all that kind of thing, Alan, I suppose the way I'm looking at it is we were better against West Ham. We picked up 3 points. It was huge in terms of the Premier League, in terms of the Champions League charge, and we're now level with Man City. Again, I'll ask you the similar question, like we would have taken any kind of a win in that game, but just performance-wise, morale-wise, confidence-wise, do you think that would make a big difference, especially compared to where we were before that game kicked off?
Absolutely. It is absolutely massive that we got a result in that. It changed the outlook of the week of the cup. We were going into it going, get a result, get out of there, we went down. Come here, by no means are we outstanding, but we went down. I think West Ham had a shot on target, and it was the coolest one from about 25 yards. They had lots of the ball. They never really did anything with it. We looked comfortable for most of the game. So it was as good a result of a 1-0 that you'll ever really see. We were never really out of third gear. It was great. But the other thing is, it's the first time we've won a match before a cup final since 1955.
Yes, it's ridiculous. I heard that stat during the week. Yeah. It's absolutely madness, really, when you think about what that is.
And that was the cup we won.
Wowza.
Yeah, okay.
So, Alan, what you're saying is the fates have aligned, the stars have aligned, the ducks are in a row. Krisho, Mr. Positive.
Yeah.
I don't even want to speculate because I know it's true. You were pretty grim about not everything, but in particular, having seen how we played, the Brighton result, like just a couple of bad weeks, let's say, not looking like ourselves. Did West Ham change how you feel, particularly going into this final, in a realistic sense, let's say, in terms of the performance?
Yeah, I mean, look, there was a captain's performance, right? Bruno really, really played out of his skin. Okay, I know Tonali doesn't get mentioned as much, even though he basically controlled the whole game. Let's be honest, shout out to Tonali. He was the best player on the pitch. But Bruno being allowed to get forward a little bit more and stick his leg out and get us a goal. Look, like Alan said, we didn't play fantastically great. Yeah, we didn't. But, we're in West Ham. It's a Monday night. That's the first time West Ham have lost a Monday night game in nearly 3 seasons or something like that when they've been on TV. XG-wise, we were all over them. So the 1-0 score, maybe even 2-0 is what XG predicted throughout the whole game. We should have probably won that game. I was very, very pleased, A, that we got the win, B, that nobody got injured, and C, that Bruno basically showed how lucky we are to actually have the guy. I mean, he bleeds black and white. Like he's done it a couple of times. I've been critical of him, but he's hitting a vein of strength, form, and ability just right on with Liverpool. I just hope he doesn't. Joelinton and him, like sometimes they're like twin brothers. They have a bad influence on each other, but he looks so up for getting Newcastle a win or a trophy or anything this season. Maybe it's because he's heading off to Real Madrid. But look, listen, if he plays this way against West Ham, against West Ham, as he does Sunday, we've got a really, really good chance of getting a victory within the 90 minutes.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it's for a while I was caught up on our midfield a lot because they were so good in that kind of really good run, and I was like, it's Bruno, it's Tonali, it's Joelinton. It's all about the midfield. But for me, it's almost like it's more about the big players putting in the big performances, and that for me it's Bruno and Isak in particular, as being like the two where if they're both on their game, you kind of can feel the rest of it click and work around. And Tonali, obviously, like Tonali, you know, like you said, Bruno got a lot of the praise, but Tonali was brilliant. I think the only thing that probably overshadowed it was him giving away the ball towards the end, and it nearly gave me a heart failure. But then Sean Longstaff came in to seal that thunder and did the exact same thing. Oh dear, some things never change. But you're right. Like I think from a Bruno perspective, this is what he'd be relishing. Like he loves the club, he loves the fans. We saw him singing at the end of the West Ham game, literally singing on the microphones, and there was a great interview after. So he should absolutely thrive on this situation. He's an emotional guy, but you know you'd like to think at this point it's not a case of letting it get to him. I think it's more a case of we've done this before. We've done our first one before. We've been new to this before. We're not new to this anymore. And I think that he can carry a lot into that as well in that sense. Okay.
Okay. Right.
Go on, Chris.
I was just going to say, right, I wanted to ask you, just really quickly about these, right? You saw Trippier playing right. You saw Livramento playing left side. First question, do we think that this is the first, that 11 that was picked against West Ham will be the 11 that plays against Liverpool from the start? And who do you think should play against Salah on the left-hand side? Will he push Tamperne out? Will it be Trippier? Will it be Livramento?
You saw the cup final team playing on Monday night, and just on Livramento playing left back, he was playing against Jared Bowen, who's arguably the second best right winger in the league at the minute. Yeah, Jared Bowen didn't really do anything. And you remember there was one moment when he got into the box and he got a shot away, but went straight to the keeper. Pope got it down. Pope nearly spilled it, but less said about that's better. Tino defensively that game was excellent. Look, we know he has no left foot. That's neither here nor there. We are coming up against the best right wing on planet Earth this Sunday. You need to have a defensively sound back line, and that's what we saw. And I thought it was. Look, everyone was a little bit disappointed. If we had Lewis Hall, people saying we would have won 3-4, 5-0, X, Y, and Z. But defensively, which is what you want from your fullbacks and what you want from your back line, I thought we were really, really good defensively. So I was happy with that performance.
Okay, all right, okay. Paul?
Yeah, and I think another thing here for me would be, I think it's Trippier right, Tino left. I don't see any other way around it. There is this common thing of, well, if you have a right footer at left back against a winger who loves cutting inside, it's just naturally makes sense. It's not that simple, definitely, because you're like turning your body and all that, and it is Salah, of course. But one thing we didn't have the last time we played Liverpool, Lewis Hall did really well against Salah when we lost 2-0 to Liverpool. Salah didn't score, still played, he still had a decent game, but Lewis Hall, I think, came out of that. If you were to pick a winner of that battle, I would say it's Lewis Hall. And that was a game where we didn't have Joelinton. And what Joelinton does do really, really well, there's a lot of things he at times doesn't do well, but he offers a protection that Joe Willock didn't offer once in that game, as far as I saw. So it was Hall against Salah, and that was it. You'd like to think in this game that Joelinton will be a lot more involved in helping to protect Tino, to jump in to try and pick up Salah if he's kind of further up the field towards the halfway line. And then there's the added threat of somebody like Szoboszlai who run in and try to link up with Salah. You'd hope that Joelinton could just start to break up that pattern or that flow and then force them out the other side. Now, I don't know what the other side, like Diaz is, for me, he's one of these players where he could go and put in a man-to-match performance and score 2 goals. and then the next 3 games you don't hear or see him, and he gets taken off, and Jota or Darwin or someone comes on. So you have stuff to think about there, but Salah is the one to stop. Salah is the reason this team are where they are in the league. He has the goals and the assists, the goal combination contributions. It's bananas. He's playing the best football of his life. But that said, Tino's coming out of that West Ham game with confidence. As Alan said, he's managed to nullify Jared Bowen. I would say he's the 3rd best right winger because it's disrespect on Jacob Murphy. How dare you? But yeah, I think Tino will come out with a bit of confidence. The England left back spot is all over the place. At the moment, it's Miles Lewis-Skelly, who's a kid and likes getting sent off. So if Livermento's brought into the squad, it's not crazy to think he's an option for them at left back, and obviously at right back. So it's there for Tino, and he should you'd hope that he's relishing the chance to go out and show what he can do on a very, very big stage. To answer your original question though, Chris, did we see the same team?
Yeah.
For me, the only thing that has a question mark possibly is the goalkeeper role. I don't think any of the outfield changes. I think Harvey Barnes is up on the left. The team picks itself. But the big debate, and it's all over social media, it's on everyone's minds, it's on everyone's lips, is Nick Pope or Martin Dubravka. I'm kind of have an idea where my mind goes on it. There is an argument to say they're both as good as each other and it doesn't matter, but they also both bring very different things and lack very different things. So I'm interested, Alan Williamson, to hear if you had Eddie Howe's lovely puffy Newcastle jacket on, which he hasn't taken off in about 8 months. Hopefully the weather will get warm for him on Sunday. Who would you go for in goals?
Who would I go for in goal?
Yeah.
It's a tough one.
I would probably go with Nick Pope. And there's method to me madness here. We play quite a high line. We don't have the quickest of back lines. And you could see there was one opportunity where there was a ball over the top. Dubravka doesn't stick to his line. I'm not that's a harsh thing to say, but Pope is a sweeper keeper. When Pope headed that ball that everyone said he didn't need to do,
that would have been a goal.
Absolutely. You're not letting a striker run in one-on-one and take a shot at you. Pope dealt with that, and that's what he is good at, and that's why I think Pope will start. We all know Dubravka is better at that ball with his feet, but shot stopping, sweeping, it's Pope. So I am willing to watch Pope kick the ball out of play 10 or 12 times this Sunday, so long as we get a winner's medal wrapped around his neck at the end of the game. And I think it's going to happen. It's going to be Pope.
Chris Shaw, discuss.
60 points, like the leaving cert. No, look, listen. Look, I understand what Al's saying. I get it. It obviously depends on how we're going to play, right? But if it is the same team, I think Al might be right. I think it might be Pope, or it probably will be Pope. But from my perspective, I think it should be Martin Dubravka. I think he deserves it. I think he deserves his opportunity to play in the final. I mean, he's given his left testicle for this football club. He loves the place. I'm not saying that Nick Pope, he missed out on the final 2 years ago for the same kind of diving header, Al, that he did against West Ham. But I think Martin Dubravka deserves it. I think that if you wanted the goalkeeping performance of the decade, I think that man is prepared to do it this Sunday. And it's kind of I'm all heart at the moment, and in the next couple of days my heart is going to enlarge, hopefully not to have a heart attack, of course, but it's just I'm all heart here. If I could get John Beresford back in at left back, I would, and Barry Venison playing right back, but we can't. But we can put Dubravka in as keeper, and I think he deserves it, and I think it will pump the whole place and bring Pope in when it goes to penalties.
Interesting. Yeah, what Alan said, I basically have been thinking as well, and it's the slow backline problem, right? We're so slow on the turn, and in recent games we've started to see where I constantly want to see Schär and Byrne just moving as one. There's been a lot of this. Schär gets caught up at the halfway line and Byrne is back, or vice versa, and that just suddenly opens up gaps and diagonals for on-rushing attackers and so on. And Dubravka just isn't as quick it's not his natural reaction to come running out. He has to decide to come running out, whereas Pope would already be gone. And it doesn't mean, I don't think we're going to try and play kind of crazy high line because it just doesn't suit us. But we literally have just, even that same back four was a lot quicker 2 years ago and even last year. Because Byrne and Sheriff, obviously, they're getting older, a lot of football in those legs as well. You remember how many games they had to play. So for that reason alone, plus I think Pope's better in the air. I think he's just more inclined to command the area, come out, punch balls, catch balls, whatever. And I get it. He's getting progressively worse with the ball at his feet, actually.
Yeah, he is.
And it's a problem. It only becomes a huge problem if we try and do silly things or take big risks, where he's like, we're under pressure or they're pressing us, and he gets the ball to feet, and he thinks he spots Bruno or Tonali or Murphy, and he's trying to ping a pass, which is very different to I'm going to try and boot it up along the
towards them,
just inside the line, in the hope that one of them gets it. That's very different to I'm trying to pass it to them at pace to feet or at waist height, and that goes straight to a Liverpool player.
Okay.
So
his
that's
problem,
especially for the first half. It's if you kind of make the conscious decision to go, you're either booting it, as in up the field anywhere high, or it's going out over the line. But if he's trying to ping a pass through a load of jerseys, even if there's a player open, he can't do it. And at least for the first half, or if not for the whole game, if we just get rid of that, then I'm okay with balls going out over the line if we're under pressure. Because the biggest thing for us is to not concede early, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And obviously not make mistakes. So I'd go with Pope for those reasons: the quickness off the line, sweeper keeper job, and his ability in the air.
All right. Well, look, the only thing I've noted, apart from the fact that his legs are made of wood, and he's a real boy, but essentially he has a. I don't know. You must have seen it against West Ham a couple of times. He has a really, really bad first touch. When the ball comes to him, he kind of touches it and it goes really far away from him, and he has to use those 96-year-old hips and then try and swing a massive leg at it. And I'm thinking, oh, good Lord, why do we even play it back?
Do you know what he reminds you of? Do you know that lad who played GA, local team, and they were like, he'll be a great goalkeeper, and the ball gets passed back to him. Like, oh, wait, I forgot. He has never had a ball at his feet before. He's had it in his hands. That's what it looks like. It looks like he was just, oh, you're big and tall, go and go. And oh, you're really good at it, but you can't play football. Don't do that.
Yeah.
It is a problem, and it is getting worse. And look, if he starts and it costs us, Eddie Howe will obviously be lambasted, and Pope will be as well. But again, you'd like to think, or you'd like to hope, that there's more pros than cons, because you can start Dubravka and you'll know what you get from Dubravka. But as we said, with that lack of pace in our centre backs, with whether it's Jota, whether it's Luis Diaz, who's pretty quick, like, in fairness, they might get opportunities to break through that line, and that's where you'd like to think Nick Pope, even if it's only once in the game, it would be once that he's preventing potentially a goal scoring opportunity. Interestingly, it's our friends over at the NUFC blog. They do one of their polls with Toon polls. Maybe we're stealing their thunder now, but they did a poll. Who would you like to see in goal on Sunday, Pope or Dubravka? 73.9% of 1,400 people as of right now voted for Dubravka. So that's interesting. That's big numbers as well. But none of that matters because it's up to Eddie Howe, and I suspect Pope that Eddie Howe will go with, but only time will tell. Okay. We'll sticking with the team. I think there's a lot of the team that picks itself. The whole five at the back thing is gone, as far as I'm concerned. I don't think he's going to chance putting Kraft in there. Wouldn't make any sense, obviously, with no Sven Botman either. So realistically, when we're talking about change, it is further up on that left-hand side. In fact, our entire left-hand side has been a bit, not decimated, but has to change, because Anthony Gordon is also going to miss this game, which is devastating for him as a Liverpool fan. But Alan, do you think Harvey Barnes did enough against West Ham to really kind of make the point or make the case for himself to be undoubtedly starting on the left-hand side on Sunday?
He absolutely did. I said last week on the pod, he has to grab this chance. He grabbed that chance. He had two great chances to score. He was unlucky with both of his chances. He set up our goal. He was a constant threat. Like, he did exactly what you wanted him to do. He is going to come up against a right back that is not a right back, with Jarrell Quansah playing. So I'm hoping that we go, right, just go at him. Just keep running. and go at him. He has 100% earned the right to play in this final. Look, Gordon will be devastated. It was petulant. It was silly. He learned from this. It'll be a bigger learning curve than that now for Gordon here missing this final. But I think Barnes did do enough. I thought the ball in for the goal, I thought was very, very good because we wouldn't get that really with Gordon. He more get to the byline and put the ball across where it was a little bit more technical, shall we say, from Barnes to put that ball in, just to clip it over and find someone in the box. It was great. So he will do enough.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Look, I said it on the night, right? I said Barnes is just standing around. Yeah, and obviously people came back to me after he had a couple of chances saying, well, he's really standing around now. It's like as if he heard me. I'm not saying he did, but it's like as if he did hear me, because he just seemed a little bit unsure of himself in the first 10 minutes or so, or 15 minutes. And you can see, obviously, even though they train together, that there's a little bit of obviously they don't play together, Livramento and Barnes and everything else. There was kind of like trying to make runs, but no, the pass wasn't coming. Livramento had his arms in the air a lot in the first half, looking for the ball. It seemed to go down the right-hand side. But Al's right. I love saying it. Al is right. He did do enough to be picked, because frankly, I didn't know who else we were going to pick on the left-hand side other than Joe Linton, and then putting Willock in with Tonali and that would have been, so basically it would have been a Willock Joe Linton left-hand side with Livramento. But look, this is Barnes to make himself a tune hero. Do you know what I mean? Wembley's a big pitch. If he can get a bit of space and we can catch them on the hop and go through the middle, Tonali's excellent at forward passes, Bruno's excellent at forward passes. Barnes needs to make some space for himself and get some shots off. It's a big pitch,
Just one thing on Barnes. He has the uncanny ability of finding himself standing in the right place. His shot that came off of Trippier's shot was purely because he knew where to stand in the box. His header was because he knew where to stand in the box. He has that fox in the box mentality that if the ball drops to someone, they have to be aware of what they're doing, and he seems to have that. So it is another positive to his game, if you know what I mean. So it is something different.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I think the other thing to remember here is, I suppose, if we're looking at the last few weeks, bar Isak, where's your guaranteed source of goal? I mean, guarantee is a strong word, but where are you confident the goals are going to come from? And obviously Anthony Gordon would be your normal answer, but Tonali, Bruno, Joe Linton, even Murphy, goals are a bit dry across that group. The one thing Harvey Barnes has about his game, and potentially even more than Gordon sometimes, is he's a goal threat, because he's very direct. And we saw it in the West Ham game. He did have a couple of chances, and the goal that we did score through Bruno came because Harvey Barnes cut inside, took a shot. Right?
Yeah.
Chances may come few and far between against Liverpool. And it'll be a good segue to talk about the opposite side, let's say, on terms of Liverpool. As it stands, it looks like Trent is out, potentially out for quite a while. Trent Alexander-Arnold. Conor Bradley is also out as it stands. Joe Gomez, I think, is always out out as it stands. And then you're kind of looking at the young chap, Kwanzaa, who's a decent player, but not a natural right back, really. And definitely doesn't offer as much in an attacking sense as Bradley or Trent Alexander-Arnold would. So you'd like to think that, is there... I mean, you'd love to have Gordon for this game, because you just like, Anthony, go at him.
Yeah.
Go get a penalty, my son, because that's what you do best. But you'd also like to think that maybe Barnes, quick feet, smart player, a bit of confidence from last week. You'd love to think that he could potentially cause trouble on their right, on our left, and potentially offer a goal opportunity. I think that's where we need to focus. Because, I guess, Alan, with that change in their back line, I think Konate and Van Dijk have been class this season. Konate's brilliant. There was a question mark on him as well, I think, after the last game, but I think he'll be fit.
Slot came out and said he was just tired, unfortunately.
Aren't we all, Slot? Aren't we all? But I guess in terms of threat, Alan, where we can pose a threat to them, is it as simple as that? Because they have question marks on their right back side. That's naturally where we can get at them, or is it even both full back sides? Because Robertson hasn't been brilliant this season.
hasn't been brilliant, but let's not forget the fact that Alexander Isak has had Van Dijk on toast quite a few times. He scored against him this season. He got him sent off last season. He doesn't mind playing against Virgil van Dijk, so it's you can never rule out that our attacking trio, if you know what I mean. Like Murphy's having an unbelievable season. Isak is world class. Barnes is going up against a centre half playing right back. I hate saying things like this. It actually looks fairly decent from where we're looking, which is unbelievable to say.
Yeah. I mean, we're really treading here carefully not to kind of say, look, this is nearly the best scenario we could have, really, apart from obviously Van Dijk, Konate, and Robertson being out as well, you know, and Kelleher being in goal. But look, like this is a real chance. I'll be honest with you. I was really concerned before the West Ham match, and I was thinking, like, we're all going over. It's all going to be the crack almighty. We're all going to be together. It's going to be great. All in London with our flags and having the crack and everything else. But nobody wants to sit there for 93, 96 minutes and watch Newcastle get humped. And it's fucking, 3-0 at half time. And we're all standing outside giving out ding dong about Murphy playing terrible and Bruno shitting his pants in midfield. Look at it. But as the more we've talked, the more the week's gone through, even though we're all very excited and anxious about it, I really believe, I'm telling all the audience, recorded live on video, that I'm genuinely confident. Well, okay, 75% confident that we can get a good result. Like, and well before time, not like in the 94th minute, like well before time, game over, no extra time, nothing.
Well, this will probably bring us on to my next question for you lads. Because one of the things I didn't give you any notice for just before I hit record was, so I want to hear two things, right? But the main thing I want to hear is, what's your dream scenario here? Now, this isn't, my dream is that we go and beat them 7-0, right? Dreams with realistic elements of it. So you're in Father Ted and you've got the dreams and reality chart, and it's somewhere in the middle. Alan, if I could give you a within reason scenario of how you would love to see this game go, and then you're sitting beside me and Chris Show in London, and to go, that was the dream. What is the dream?
That we go out and comfortably beat Liverpool, and there's no pressure on me all day.
We have
realistically, Alan.
Okay, realistically, it's the 85th minute. We've been under an awful lot of pressure. We get a corner. Trippier puts it into the box. Dan Burn heads it back across the box. Bruno Guimaraes, diving header, back stick, hammers the thing home. We win the cup 1-0, and I don't come home for London for 2 weeks.
So you said Bruno, right? For your scoring the winner.
Yes.
Okay. Bruno scoring the winner in a 1-0 win. It's a tight game. The stress levels will be out, but the points will be drank. Krisho, now you have lots of dreams, and most of the time we don't allow them to be aired on the internet or in public.
I know, yeah.
But looking at this weekend, looking at Sunday, what would be a dream outcome for you in terms of proceedings?
Well, I just hope everybody gets along and we have a good time. Yeah, that's my dream.
Christian, come on now. We're censoring you, but we're not censoring you that much.
All right, okay.
This isn't Teletubbies here.
All right, okay. There's been 6 or 7 arguments between all of us because it's 1-1 and it's 75 minutes. In fact, one of the lads has walked outside because the argument has got so hot that they've decided to go outside for a second, right? I don't know who that might be. Who knows? Yeah, we all know. Right, look, listen, here's what happens. Yeah, Liverpool are all over us. Yeah, they make 4 substitutions in the 75th minute. It's 1-1. We're all kind of got that feeling in the bottom of our stomach. We all feel a slight bit sick. I'm feeling that the 4 bottles of champagnes that I've ordered is a terrible mistake. Terrible mistake, right? Because nobody wants to open them or drink them because they all taste really sour, right? And they've overcharged me because I'm Irish. But anyway, look, listen. Here's what happens. Kraft gets put on. The whole place loses their mind and goes, what the hell? Why is Kraft coming on? Like, oh, God's sake. Well, at least it's not Longstaff. Ha, 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 ha. Right? Kraft comes on, right? There's a free kick. Yeah. Tonali takes the free kick. He's wrecked. He's got blood coming out of his knee. He's dying to go gambling, but he knows he can't. He clips it in from the side, and Krafu, out of nowhere, the ball comes back out to him. He hits it just 10 yards out within the box. Shouldn't be doing it. Shouldn't really be there. And it goes straight in. It doesn't even touch anybody. It just goes boom and breaks the net, essentially like Royal Rovers. And that's it. 81st minute, Crafu scores, and it's 2-1 to Newcastle. And we barely hold on until the 96th minute, or whenever the FA gives Liverpool, an extra 12 or 13 minutes to equalise. Yeah, there you go.
Don't mention that. Fucking shambles.
Crafu's the hero. It's going to be one of the greatest things that you've ever seen in your life. Emil Kraft is going to score the winner at Wembley.
If he gets on the pitch.
I tell you, when he gets substituted, you guys are all going to look at me and go, it's going to happen.
I wouldn't put all your money on it just yet, Chris.
No, right, okay.
But I like it. I would accept it as an outcome. But Jesus, believe me.
Mm-hmm.
For me, so the first thing that came into my head was, and I just remember I always go back to the Tottenham game, the 6-0, and we're 5-0 up after 20 minutes. And I think it was when we scored the third goal and Jacob Murphy did his like smiling in shock thing. And for me, I was like, wouldn't it be lovely to go a goal or two up, or go a goal up early and kind of stun the shit out of them? But because it's Liverpool, I think they'd react really well to that. And I just couldn't handle us then sitting back for 86 minutes.
No way.
I just couldn't. It'd just be bad vibes. I think, I guess where I'd love to go that is in some shape or form, Alexander Isak wins the game for us. Because what I want Isak to experience is, and he's already had it, right? But the hero worship. Imagine we win 2-1 or 2-0 or whatever it is, and Isak scores a brace, or it's the Isak show. And the whole play, like, obviously he gets in St. James's Park, but to be in Wembley with all the fans who'll stay around if this happens, the adulation, the songs, and just knowing that he's going to go down in history, and he'll have that realization of, why the fuck would I want to play for another club? I'm getting my new contract here. Look what we can go on to do from here, and I can be the guy for that project. So, it has a double meaning because we get to win the Carabao Cup and hopefully keep Alexander Isak around for a long time. But I just think he'd also deserve it after being so good this season. And I still only think we've probably seen 85% of what he can do across the season overall. Imagine if we got a bit more supply and a bit more creativity around him. Whoa, what that man could achieve. So that would be my desire for that one. We just want us to win. As we said, we're going to be over there in numbers. I want to see Alan Williamson cry. I want to see Krisho falling asleep under his flag on a tube somewhere. I want to see Tev topless running down Covent Garden. Like, I want all of it. And fingers crossed, guys. Like, God, it would just be so good. What are we looking at? 56 years, Alan, since we last won a major trophy, if we don't count the certificate of participation from the Intertoto.
Yeah, 56 years.
Dear. 56 years. Okay, let's end 56 years of hate come Sunday. Other matters quickly discussed then. We've mentioned the meetups, right? I'm just going to put them quickly on screen because in an interesting turn of events, Alan, 2 more locations added. So let's run through them very quickly. They're now on the screen. So
naturally, we have our meetup in the Bleecker, which is going to be headed by Sean Bowes, and we all love Sean for that. We also have, right, so I'm going to have to go through this. I'm going to not run through it quickly, but I'm going to go through it a little bit. So we've got Quinlan's Bar in Blackpool and Cork, which is another one of our regular haunts. We've got the Old Quarter in Limerick, which was where we were 2 weeks ago. We have Cozy Joe's in Mayo. We have the Doyen in Belfast. We have the Railway Bar in Port Arlington, County Laois. Awesome. We have the 2 new ones added to the list are Scalper Quains in Kerry and Silver Street in Derry.
Awesome.
So 8 meetups around Ireland, and it's going to be amazing. So if you're anywhere near any of those 8 counties, surely to God you're near one of them. Get yourself down. And just to be aware, kids are welcome at every single one of these events. They are not adult only. Kids are more than welcome at all of these events. So Get the young mags.
But if we win, send
yeah,
them
they have
home
to go
after.
home. Yeah.
No, look, let's just be very clear here, and it's for everybody here, and the two lads specifically, because of all the hard work that's done by everybody involved, right? That is really something else, right? To have 8 meetups on one day within the country. There wasn't even 8 lads at the first one up. Now there's 8 meetups.
There was 8 of us, so there's a meetup for every person. That's what happened.
So good.
Get a pub each.
Yes.
It is wild, in fairness. And if anybody randomly is around Galway, we did have one person asking about Galway. And we
actually
mentioned
had
Mary
3
Mullins.
or 4. Yeah.
Did we? Okay, so there might be a gang around Galway, maybe in Mary Mullins. Make some noise in the WhatsApp group. If you're not in any WhatsApp group, we do have a Connacht one. If you're not in any WhatsApp group, easiest thing to do is to email info@theirishmags.com. Go onto the irishmags.com website. You can contact us through that as well, and we can get you sorted as well. Or if you're looking for, other people, the WhatsApp group is the place to start, just to see if there's anyone around you if you're not near any of those 8 locations. Otherwise, if you've got plenty of money, go book yourself a flight to London. We'll all be there.
Well, look at just on that, right? And I just Tev was saying about it. Our boss man Tev. I'm going to start the vlog from 2 p.m. on Saturday. From going up right across.
Vlog.
Yeah, I just don't like saying vlog. It sounds like a dessert or something. I like saying vlog. Look, I'm a little bit older than you guys, all right? And so I'm going to start at 2 o'clock on Saturday. It's going to get a bit about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock when I meet up in Covent Garden, and there's going to be streaking going on and so on. And I'm going to be drinking vodka beer. Anyone wants any vodka beer, hit me up. Yeah.
Oh dear.
And then obviously I'll see what happens throughout the night, and then I'll start part 2, and that'll be on Sunday morning when I bump into these 2 guys in the middle of London, and we'll just go from there and see what happens and vlog it out of it.
Vlog. I'm going to de-rink you out of it. That's what's going to happen. Really quickly then, just before we wrap up, I don't have a normal quiz for you, but I do have a bit of trivia, and I want to see if you can help guess some pieces of information here, lads. I was just scrolling through Liverpool and Newcastle's previous meetups. There's not a whole lot of green W's for Newcastle, as you well know, lads. I don't even need to go into that. We have a terrible record against this team. But I was specifically looking for the last time we beat them in the League Cup.
Steve McLaren, manager. We beat them 2-0 at home.
In the League Cup, Alan?
On the League Cup. I thought you said the League.
In the League Cup. Yeah, no.
Oh,
so I'm
Jesus.
specifically looking for League Cup. So it's a bit more niche. So I can tell you the year was 1995 on the 29th of November. But I want to really quickly see I'll give you about 3 or 4 minutes, lads, between the two of you. Can you guess the starting 11? And we only had 1 sub on the bench that day because it was a world where you could only pick 3. But for some reason, according to 2 websites I checked, we only had 1 named on the bench. So just start firing some names out, lads. Starting 11, 1995, when we beat Liverpool in the League Cup 4th round.
Shaka Hislop.
Shaka Hislop, correct. He was in goals. Good shout. Alan.
Oh. I am struggling. No,
Come on, 1995.
John Beresford.
Yeah.
John Beresford, correct. Started at left back.
Steve Watson.
Steve Watson was the one substitute on the bench and scored the winning goal in a 1-0 win against Liverpool.
Steve Watson. Just like
what a man.
Just like
David Batty, however, is incorrect, Alan. Krisho is handing to your ass on a plate.
Here,
Steve Howie.
Steve Howie is correct, centre back.
Darren Peacock.
Darren Peacock is correct. He was the other centre back.
95. Jesus. Yondal Thomason.
Oh, what a shout.
Way before his time. No, way before. He wasn't. He was 97, 98, even beyond. He was after this. This is 95, lads. This is golden era.
Albert.
Beardsley Cole.
So Peter Beardsley is correct. He played up front alongside a man that wasn't Andy Cole because he had already moved to Man United. But that does give you a clue. Albert is incorrect.
Yeah.
We had Howie and Peacock as a centre-back pairing.
Okay.
Rule Fox.
Incorrect.
Rob Lee. Gillespie.
Rob Lee is correct. And Keith Gillespie is the one I was hinting when you mentioned Andy Cole. So we had Gillespie on the right wing and Rob Lee in the middle alongside somebody else. That wasn't David Batty.
Lee Clark.
Lee Clark is correct. Great shout, Alan. Now, lads, you're looking for a striker, a left winger, and a right back.
Was it Ginola?
Yeah, Ginola, yeah.
It was indeed. Chriso has it on the back. That is a good moment to tell you that one of the jerseys on the screen is real, and I hate to say it, but it's the one I'm wearing that still kind of fits me from 1996 when I was 9 years.
Chriso's is real as well.
But I thought you said it. I thought you said he bought it.
Yeah, he bought a legit one off of.
Oh, it's an original. I have you now.
It's an original Ginola.
Alan is the fraudster. Okay, fair point.
I bought it this year in St. James's Park. I'm all right.
Hey, thanks, Paul. What the hell? Look at the crest. It's like 25 years old. It's ancient.
I'm just happy that I'm able to fit into something I used to wear when I was 9. Come on.
You don't fit into it. You don't.
No, I don't. It doesn't go past the waistline. Right. I need a right back and I need a striker.
Barry Venison.
Incorrect.
Aspria.
Incorrect.
Huh.
Right back.
Wasn't Warren Barton, was it?
Friend of the Irish Mags show, Warren Barton is correct. Of course, it's Warren Barton, lads. He's up here looking at you.
Was it Paul Douglas? Was Paul Douglas playing up front?
Incorrect.
I love mentioning Paul Douglas. He was so terrible.
Is it Les Ferdinand?
I was just pointing over my shoulder here, lads. Yeah. On my display here, I've got both Warren Barton and Les Ferdinand standing beside each other.
Yeah.
On the screen. Correct, lads. That was the lineup, and we beat Liverpool 1-0 in Anfield. A team that included David James in goals, Razor Ruddock at centre back, Phil Babb and Jason McAteer, the Irish representatives, and then you had the likes of McManaman, John Barnes, Stan fucking Collymore, and Robbie Fowler. Yes. Yeah. Right. Well, on that lovely note, lads, we've read out our dream scenarios. We are buzzing for the weekend. I hope everybody listening and watching is buzzing as well. Get yourself to any location possible. London, Ireland, Newcastle. We're going to have some lads in Newcastle as well, by the way. Yeah. If you can find anyone. If not, get yourselves into the WhatsApp groups because there'll be a lot going on. And fingers crossed, we'll be celebrating. Imagine. Celebrating. The idea that we could be celebrating a cup final on Sunday is bananas. But let's hope we can go and fucking do it.
There's going to be some like proper vlog highlights. I love it. No, sorry. Vlog highlights. But like, we're all going to be together. We're all going to be within 5 yards of each other for this momentous day. Okay, maybe I'll be standing a little bit further away from you guys because you guys are mean. But I'm going to get champagne. If we're winning after 80 minutes, I'm saying it now. I'm going to go get 4 or 5 bottles of champagne from the bar. I'm doing it.
I'll be there. I'll
I'll drink them.
One each. And
I'll drink them.
Just pop, bam, and I don't want to. I'm going to be wearing a nice jacket, so don't be spilling any pints, Paul. By the way,
just for the record, folks, myself and Alan are going to need 2 able-bodied assistants to take one corner each of that flag because Christian's going to be lying in the middle of it like a stretcher. And on that wonderfully positive note, that brings episode 67 and our cup final preview to a close. Let's all hope that we can get that win on Sunday. And what an episode we'd have next week, assuming we actually do make it back from London, if it does happen. Check out all our socials in the description below. And of course, theirishmags.com. All of the information on meetups and everything you need to know is up there. And there'll be some photo gallery going up there next week. Hopefully a positive one as well. We'll be back for more Irish Magnus and hopefully a Carabao Cup trophy with it next week. So until then, how are the lads? Slán go forward.
Come on!
See you all very soon.